Hello everyone. Today, I would like to talk about the Battle of Kawanakajima during the Sengoku period, a series of battles in which two of the most famous generals of the Sengoku period, Takeda Shingen of Kai and Yasuji Kenshin of Ekigo, fought for control of northern Shinano province, present-day Nagano prefecture. Takeda Shingen's invasion of Shinano. Shingen aimed to expand the territory of Shinano province, and after conquering southern and central Shinano, he began his invasion of northern Shinano. Murakami Yashikiyo's request for help. Murakami Yashikiyo, a powerful military commander in Shinano, was driven out of his territory by Shingen and asked Nagao Kagetora, later Yasuji Kenshin, of Ekigo for help. Unrest among the local lords of northern Shinano. The local lords of northern Shinano were also worried about the expansion of Takeda's power and requested Kenshin's support. Strategic value of Kawanakajima. Kawanakajima was an important area for both sides, as it was a fertile area at the confluence of the Chikuma and Sai rivers and a key transportation hub. Shingen hoped to secure Kawanakajima to establish control over northern Shinano. A total of 5 battles took place between 1553 and 1564, with the most famous being the Fourth Battle of Kawanakajima, 1561, where the tactics used by both sides and numerous anecdotes have been passed down to future generations. Fourth Battle, 1561 Battle of Yawadahara. The largest and fiercest battle, the two armies clashed at Kawanakajima Hakimanira. Woodpecker tactic, a strategy devised by Takeda's military strategist, Yamamoto Kensuke, in which a separate force would launch a surprise attack on the Yasuji forces at Mount Major from behind. However, Kenshin saw through this plan and moved secretly at night to launch a surprise attack on the Takeda main camp. Fierce battle, the elite soldiers of both sides clashed, and many powerful generals, including Takeda Shingen's younger brother, Takeda Nobushige, and Yamamoto Kensuke, were killed in battle. Legend of the duel. There is a legend that in this battle, Yasuji Kenshin charged alone into Takeda Shingen's main camp, and Shingen fended off the attack with his fan, but it is not certain whether this is historical fact or not. No conclusion. After a fierce battle, both sides suffered heavy losses, no decisive outcome was reached, and both sides ultimately retreated. Impact of the battle. Exhaustion of both sides. The long fighting caused great human and economic losses for both the Takeda and Yasuji clans. Control of northern Shinano. As a result of the battle, most of northern Shinano, including Kawanakajima, eventually came under the control of the Takeda clan. Kenshin's strategic goals. Kenshin's main goal was to stop the Takeda from advancing north, rather than to seize territory in Shinano, so it can be said that he prevented the Takeda from expanding their power to a certain extent. Influence on later generations. The Battle of Kawanakajima has been passed down to later generations as a fateful showdown between two famous generals of the Sengoku period, Takeda Shingen and Yasuji Kenshin, and has been the subject of various stories and works of art. The fourth battle in particular is extremely famous for its fierceness and the legend of the one-on-one combat. The Battle of Kawanakajima can be said to be one of the most important battles in the complex power relationships of the Sengoku period, where two heroes clashed with their respective strategies and pride. Yamamoto Kensuke is a military strategist who served Takeda Shingen, and is especially famous for being the creator of the woodpecker tactic used in the Battle of Kawanakajima. However, there is much mystery surrounding his existence and detailed character, and he is a figure with a strong legendary aspect. There is a theory that he was born with an eye defect or a physical disability, and he is sometimes described as a person abandoned by the world. There is an anecdote that says that he was rejected by many daimyo for service, but only Takeda Shingen recognized his talent. The end. In 1561, he led a separate force of the Takeda clan at the Battle of Kawanakajima. The prevailing theory is that he was killed in a surprise attack by the Yasuji army. Takeda's woodpecker tactic. Takeda Shingen adopted the woodpecker tactic to pincer attack the Yasuji forces. This involved a separate unit attacking the Yasuji forces from behind, while the main force attacked from the front. However, Usuji Kenshin saw through this and descended the mountain first to launch a surprise attack on the Takeda forces. The Takeda forces deployed a crane wing formation, and both sides used advanced tactics, resulting in a fierce battle. Kenshin read Shinjin's surprise attack plan, and Kenshin was one step ahead in launching his own surprise attack. This reversal is considered one of the most dramatic parts of the Battle of Kawanakajima. Takeda Shinjin's strategy, Woodpecker Tactic. Objective: confine the Usuji forces in the mountains, empty Tsuminome, and annihilate them by attacking them from behind. Unit composition: separate force of about 12,000, General Commander, Takeda Yoshinobu, Yamamoto Kensuke, etc. Plan to climb empty Tsuminome at night, and launch a surprise attack on the rear of the Usuji forces the following morning. Main force of about 8,000, Takeda Shinjin. Plan to deploy in Hakamaniura and wait, then pincer attack with the separate force. Usuji armies. Kuramagakari no Jin. Usuji Kenshin used the Kuramagakari no Jin tactic, in which his troops were arranged in a radial pattern and attacked the enemy's main camp while circling it. This tactic made it easy to break through the enemy's defenses and inflicted heavy damage on the Takeda army. The Kuramagakari no Senpo, wheel-turning tactic, is a unique battle formation and strategy that is said to have been used by Usuji Kenshin during the Sengoku period. As the name suggests, it is said to be a tactic in which soldiers are deployed one after another like a rotating wheel to crush the enemy. Multiple units on hold. Kenshin has multiple units lined up in a column and waiting. Leading troop attack. When a battle begins, the leading troop will attack the enemy. Sequential rotation. When the leading troops become exhausted or damaged, the following troops are sent in one after another, continuing the attack without a break. Constant pressure. With new troops constantly being brought in, the enemy is constantly fighting fresh troops, which makes them more tired and puts them under a lot of mental pressure. One-point breakthrough. The Kurumakakari tactic is thought to have been aimed at breaking through the enemy's formation by concentrating forces at one point. Sustained offensive power. A major feature of this type of attack is that it is difficult for the momentum of the attack to wane because new troops are constantly being brought in. Enemy exhaustion. Constant attacks force enemies to keep fighting without any time to rest, which can cause them to become exhausted. Mental pressure. This puts mental pressure on enemy soldiers as they appear one after another, which is likely to have the effect of lowering their will to fight. High level of command and leadership. To be successful, this tactic requires high level of command and leadership, including coordination between units and timing of deployment. Particularly famous is the fact that Usuji Kenshin is said to have used this tactic in the Fourth Battle of Kawanakajima, 1561. It is said that when the Usuji forces stationed at Mt. Megumi suddenly attacked the Takeda main camp under cover of night, they used this tactic to corner the Takeda forces. The Kurumagake tactic is said to be a sign of Kenshin Usuji's outstanding military prowess, and its innovative tactical ideas are thought to have influenced subsequent warlords. Although the extent of this is debatable, the name and concept are an essential element in talking about battles in the Sengoku period. At about 5 a.m., the Usuji forces charged the Takeda main camp. Hakamaniura was shrouded in fog, making visibility poor. The Takeda forces were confused, not expecting that the main Usuji army had already descended the mountain. Shinjin fought back himself, taking up a military fan. The main force of the Takeda army gradually recovers, and fierce fighting ensues. They gradually prepare themselves in what is known as the three-stage stance. After that, Takeda's detachment finally arrives, but the Usuji army has already begun to finish its attack. Kenshin saw through Shinjin's surprise attack plan and launched a surprise attack one step ahead of Shinjin. This reversal is considered one of the most dramatic parts of the Battle of Kawanakajima. Meanwhile, the main force of the Takeda army gradually regrouped from the crane wing formation, and a fierce battle unfolded. Taking advantage of the opportunity, as they gradually gathered in a formation known as the three-stage stance, Yusuji Kenshin charged alone into Takeda Shinjin's main camp and attacked with 3 and 4 sword slashes, resulting in the one-on-one combat between Shinjin and Kenshin at the Battle of Kawanakajima.